Welcome to Sway, where I give you my opinion and I really don't care what you think of it.
It's just my opinion.
All right, so before I get started, as always, I got my trusty smokes, my trusty Coke, and do not forget to like, make a comment, hit the subscribe button, press the notification icon so you be notified every time that I post a video. All right, so it finally happened. Mr. Corey Good finally made a comment on one of my videos. That's right. But before I get to that, I want to talk about a couple of different things really quick. Those of you that have been, excuse me for a second, those of you that have been subscribed to my channel and you noticed on Saturday, February the 13th, 2021, that was this past Saturday, I posted an important video on this channel that about a young lady that's been missing for a bit. The very next day, I got a really cool text that she has been found. She has been found, and let me make it bigger. She has been found. She has been found. Jasmine Negron has been found. She was found safe and sound. She is back home. All right. I did post the video on the fact that she was found on my Soy Skits channel. And I posted it on Twitter as well as on my Facebook Soy Skits channel. But she's been found, so that's really really good. Right. So another thing that I want to talk about. I've talked about before that when I was a kid, I was deeply involved in political activism. I was deeply involved in I did a lot of activism. I was part of different marches. I actually met Jesse Jackson when I was a kid, Reverend Jesse Jackson as a kid. Um, He's very important to me. Even though because of my physical situation, my physical disability, I'm unable to do as much as I could. But I help out where I can, when I can, everywhere that I can. Especially being a minority, being Puerto Rican, a lot of things are very important to me. My daughter being minority, my daughters, being minority people. Uh, is it very important to me that I stay active in certain things, especially because politically, I always, as I've always mentioned it, I've never hidden it. I've said I'm straight in the middle. I am straight in the middle. And when it comes to voting for any political office, right, I go with the person uh, I feel will do the job for certain things. Okay. So there have been times, on certain things I'm conservative, on certain things I'm more liberal, on certain things I'm a libertarian, on certain things I vote for the Green Party. It all depends on what it is that I'm voting for. Okay. My daughters who are black, me being Puerto Rican, with all of us being minorities, my ex-wife being a minority, there's a lot of things that are very important to us. One of the things that some people on the right, you got people on the right and the left, you have people on both sides that are wrong. Many things, for anybody on the right to say that racism does not exist is a bunch of shit. For a lot of people on the right who say that racism itself does not exist is a bunch of shit. Do I necessarily agree with left's the left's mo or the left's viewpoint on racism? No, I don't. And I'll say, and I say, and people who know me know that. Um, like I've said it before, I know people on the right and I know people on the left. Okay, I know many people on the right, many people on the left who are wholeheartedly into the, really like far out there, and they know I'm not in as far as they are because I keep in the middle and I see for things the way they truly are, not for whatever propaganda has been shoved down my throat. You know, with what with the people on the right, the people on the alt right or the extreme right, whatever you want to say. Uh, um, especially with many of the conservatives, the way that they have extremely pushed and extremely pushed number 17, 17th letter of alphabet. Um, they fell for a lot of shit. They're still falling for a lot of shit. It's that simple. But at the same time, the people on the left who are, many people, and I've talked about certain people, not by name, but where I said that they're so far left that they believe every propaganda that the left puts out there, that the media puts out there. So they're just as bad, and just as confused, and just as lost as people on the right who believe in the Mister Number 17. Okay, like I said, for anybody that will tell you that racism does not exist in the United States of America, that's total bullshit because it does. It does. Even in the state that I live in the state that I live in, there's there's still a bunch of racism. There's still a bunch of racism happening. And again, being a man, even though my skin's light as hell, but being a minority, being a man of color, when we talk about the black and brown man, right? I'm in the brown section, but um, there's a lot of racism. There's a lot of racism going on, and it happens a lot in the town that I live in, and in a couple of the surrounding towns that are in a couple of the surrounding towns. It happens all over the state where there's still a lot of racism happening. Okay, now a friend of mine, who she actually posted something on her Facebook. Okay, she posted something on her Facebook, and I gotta look for it really quick. Friend of mine, she posted this message. Okay, let me make it a little bit bigger. Well, she didn't post it; she forwarded it. Okay, she forwarded it, and anything that I'm showing here today, I am going to bleep out. I'm going to also cover any names and of any names of people, as well as pictures, as well as businesses, just for the time being. So that way I'm not doxing anybody. It says, "Here's a good night. Here's a good night cap Facebook. Are you aware of the people you are friends with and what kind of person they actually are? Well, let me introduce you to blank. This girl has dragged my name to the dirt for absolutely no reason other than all the hate in her heart. If this video doesn't show what kind of person she is, I don't know what will. Her family owns the business, blank. Boycott this racist business." Okay. Now, the young lady that posted, not the one that sent me this, but the one who actually posted this, she's a young black lady. Okay, a young black lady, and there's a video to it. So, but in order for me to show the video, where I bleep up because this white girl, and I'll say it like that, this white girl, she says the N word. Okay. Um. So so right now, currently, what I did. This is just for now. I blurred out her face and I bleeped out the N word. But I really want you to pay attention. To this video. You just give it a couple seconds.
Do you know what I don't like? I don't like fuck your ass fucks. Give me a shot.
Right. So I don't like effing. I don't like fucking ends as fuck. Okay. Now I don't know the whole situation. I do not know the whole situation. With it, with what's going on, I don't. So I can't properly make a comment. Um. I've seen this many, many times. It is a fucked up thing. It is very fucked up that a lot of these that I've seen a lot of especially in my state where I've seen a lot of racist bullshit, like on the local news networks. Right? They'll post something on Facebook about anything, and you see a lot of these racist white folk, calling black people monkeys. They'll use derogatory terms for for other minorities, like if it's an Asian person, they'll call them a chink. If it's a Hispanic person, they'll use the word spics, wetbacks, whatever, things like that. I've seen it all over. So again, if anybody on the right says that that racism does not exist in this country, United States of America, you're so full of shit. You're full of shit, period. Okay? Now, granted, this girl, this white girl, I guess she was drunk or she was getting drunk or whatever. I don't know if the video itself was kind of like her. And I don't fucking know. I don't care. The fact that she said it is fucked up. Okay? There's no excuse. There's no excuse. Now, here's one of the problems that I've been saying for a long time to a lot of people is that the N word itself, okay, whether you say nigger or nigga, right? If you're from the hood like I am, you say nigga. All right. So, number one of the problems that I've had with it is the fact that a lot of the celebrities, the minority celebrities, it was like, you know what, we need to take this word and own it and own it. Make no, you don't. That was one of, if not the biggest mistake that was ever done, is for celebrities to endorse the minority population to own word. No, we should have stopped that word in its tracks. We should have put a stop to that word in its tracks. As it is, how many times you see a minority person, whether they're black, Hispanic, whatever, where they're like, oh, I take care of I hustle, I got a job, I take care of my kids, I do this, that, and the other. I'm a real nigga. No, fuck that shit. No. Fuck that shit. We needed to take that word, keep it with a negative connotation, okay? Negative connotation of, if you want to call yourself the N-word, you want to call yourself a nigga, okay? You need to keep it, and we needed to keep it in the negative connotation of, yeah, this guy's an asshole. This guy, he beats on his wife. This guy doesn't do shit for his kids. Yeah, he is a nigga. You know what I'm saying? Then you got these proud, oh, I'm a real nigga. No, man, you're a real man. Okay, if you're a father, you're a dad, you take care of your responsibilities, you pay your bills, you do this, that. You're not a real nigga. You're a real man. Period. Okay? Stop lowering yourself. Now say it like this. Stop lowering yourself. so you can seem tough. You don't need to lower yourself so people know that you tough, that you're a real G, so to speak, right? You say, no, I'm a real man. Okay, there's a meme I created some time ago, and I couldn't find it for this video, where it was Simba and his father, Mufasa, okay, where they were looking over the savannah. And in the movie The Lion King, this is where Mufasa's telling Simba that, hey, look, this is all of our land from here until where the sun goes down, right? So, but in the meme that I created, in the meme that I created, actually I used that one, and I used a picture of a young boy and his father. Anyway, but it was like, Dad, what's a real nigga? And in the meme, I have the dad saying, I don't know, son, but I'm raising you to be a real man. Okay? We need to stop grading ourselves, okay, as people of color, okay, as minorities, as people of color, as black and brown people. We need to stop degrading ourselves to the word. Understand? No, we're real men. We're not fuckboys. We're not this. We're not that. We're real men. We take care of our responsibility. Now, if somebody's not taking care of their responsibilities, right? If they fucking 30 women at a time, and all 30 of them, and all 30 of them get pregnant, and he runs off like a little bitch. Okay, fine. You know what? Have at it. Call him a fuck boy, call him this, call him that, whatever, because they brought that upon themselves. But if you are out there, you're raising your children, you're doing your best, you're fighting for your kids, your family, what have you, oh, you're a real man. Period. Okay. Yeah, no, but racism racism does exist in the United States of America. Okay, but and I've said this before in other videos. You have different levels of racism, of where you have racism because of hatred, like with this young lady here. Because where it's like, you want all minorities to die. They don't want any kind of integration. That nothing, right? Um, Jim Crow law racism, the triple K racism. Um, then you have racism because of ignorance, just pure ignorance. Where I've met many people, even in the Hispanic community, right, the Puerto Rican community, where if somebody's from okay, like like many people like my relatives, right? If somebody's from if somebody's from that part of the world, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, or whatever, they're all every one of them, they're automatically Indian. Like my neighbors next door, like they're from Bangladesh, but sometimes I hear, my Spanish is, oh yeah, the Indians next door. They're not, they're from Bangladesh, right? If they, my friends from Pakistan who own and run the store that I help out at from time to time, they're like, oh yeah, these Indians, they're really cool. They're not Indians, they're Pakistani. Okay. Same shit. No, it's not the same shit. Okay, it's like okay, people who come from Jamaica, Trinidad, and Tobago, right? They all, right? Those people, they have a similar accent. So, but because of ignorance and you don't know, like, the differences or what have you, every one of them is Jamaican. Again, this is just, I call it racism because of ignorance. And it's not because of hatred, or it's just that they don't know, so they lump them up, like like people from, all Asians, right? again, Spanish community, in the Spanish community, if they're Asian, every one of them are Chinese. You know, they could be Vietnamese, they could be Laotian, they could be North and South Korean, Japanese, for crying out loud. Any kind of Asian, but because they have the Asian features, oh yeah, Chinese people next door, they're not Chinese, they're Laotian, or it's like out of ignorance, not out of hatred, out of just ignorance, because and this is where I personally what I do, because as a man of the cloth, I like to get to know people. I love getting to know people. I love getting to know people. I love my Mexican brothers, my Dominican brothers, my Cuban brothers, my Guatemalan brothers, my Chinese brothers, my Laotian brothers, my brothers. I mean, every I consider every human being brothers and sister, right? Because we're all people created by the same creator. But it doesn't matter if you're white, black, or whatever. I want to get to know you. It's like up north, right? Again, and I'll say this again, right? Up here, up north, if they had a southern twang, right? If they had a southern, and I'm guilty for doing this when I was a kid, but it was like, if somebody had a southern twang, automatically they were from Alabama. That's the only state we really knew about that had the southern twang, or everybody was Texan or whatever. Again, it is a form of racism or culturalism or whatever you want to call it, right? Of ignorance, because we don't know better, not out of hatred, but just out of ignorance. But in cases like this, in cases like this where it is because of ignorance, because I've been guilty of this, and I've said this before, where I said many of the same things, but I chose not to be ignorant. I chose not to be ignorant. I chose not to be ignorant. Okay. I chose not to be ignorant, and I wanted to learn as much as I could about my brothers and sisters from different parts of the world, from different countries, or from different areas of the United States. Okay. I mean, for a long time, because of the way that the movies are, I used to think that every Californian, okay, every Californian was, surfer, the surfer dude. Like, hey, man, cool. Dude, what's up? Like, I used to think that, and when I actually met my the first person that I've ever met, who was from California. Again, every area of the world has so many different cultures, and what have you. You don't even have to go to a different country. Just here in the U.S. Again, like California, from in the LA region, right, in the Los Angeles area, where you got Compton, what have you. You got many that are like gangsta, and then you have like Oildale in Bakersfield, where you got that ding 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 ding. But again, if we do not do anything to combat this ignorance, we're not doing ourselves any favors. Okay, we are not doing ourselves any favors. All right. Is we and as far as racism out of hatred, we need to just put a stop to that. Again, it has to be where people need to be taught. Okay, people need to be taught. Okay, and any form of racism, whether it is of hatred or ignorance or whatever, it can be fought with love and compassion and understanding. At the same time, whether it is racism because of hatred or racism because of ignorance, these people have to be willing to learn and be open minded. Willing to learn and be willing to be open minded. Okay? All right, so shit. So as many of you know, with the situation going on with the Corey Goode situation, okay, where uh his one of his former attorneys and her mother are suing him. Leon Isaac Kennedy and I mean, but freaking Jordan Sather and whatever, everybody's basically going against him. And where there's a and I made a series of it was three videos where I was mentioning and talking about it. Um, but it is interesting to note that my first video that I made, I believe it was the day of or the day after the first video was posted, and that was on December 18th of last year, 2020. Okay, so 4 days ago, yeah, 4 days ago, it is interesting to note that Mr. Corey Goode made a comment on that first video. Oh my god! And like, okay, yesterday on the 15th, right? Yesterday on the 15th, I was going through I was going through this channel. I was going through it to see who made any comments on any of my videos, what have you, right? Um, and there's been comments here and there, but the one that really caught my attention was the fact that Mr. Corey Goode and the Sphere being Alliance, okay, made a comment on one of my videos. Now, how many times have I said that he probably does not pay attention to any of my videos? How many times have I said that wow, this is it. I don't know if I should feel honored or I should be laughing that he actually posted a comment, but here we are. What the fuck? All right, so let me get to the comment real quick. Okay, let me get to the comment real quick. Okay, so I'm in my YouTube studio, and this is the first video that I made. It was called Corey Goode Brought to Justice. Like I said, I did it on December the 18th, 2020. And right here, as you can see, Corey Goode and the Sphere Being Alliance 4 days ago made a limited public statement. We are aware that some parties involved in our current litigations have been posting content containing false, defamatory, and extremely damaging statements and allegations. We vehemently deny these false and I probably said that wrong, Rob, but we vehemently deny these false and damaging statements and allegations. While this behavior is not totally unexpected, we are shocked at how irresponsible they have been trying to use their own petty grievances to further divide the community and feed ongoing cyber stalking campaigns that we have addressed with a major federal RICO civil suit in the 10th District of Colorado. Okay, first and foremost, my comments on that. Okay, I'm assuming that because of the fact that I talk shit about everything, like I talk shit. I admit, giving my personal opinions on everything. Me giving my personal opinion based on things that are presented before me. I've talked shit about everybody. Okay, I've talked shit about everybody, and I've given my personal opinion on everything and everybody that right? So, um, he made this statement, this first part of the statement, and he and in the first part where it says that he addressed it with they've addressed it with the major federal RICO civil lawsuit. Okay, and going back into this, okay. Now I'm not an attorney. I don't know jack shit about law, but I've seen some of these lawsuits and they were poorly written. Okay, I don't speak legalese, but my vocabulary is, and even though I don't show it, right? Even though I don't show it a lot because I'll say whatever here, but I have quite an extensive vocabulary, and many of these federal RICO lawsuits, it looks like it was written by a 5-year-old child, which made absolutely no fucking sense. Okay, which to that point, I say that many of these lawsuits were thrown out. Okay, and it is public information if you know where to look. Where many of these lawsuits were thrown out because just because of the wording alone. Okay, now, and I've said this before. I've said this before. If we're going, and I've asked the question, and I've asked Corey Good the question many times on my channel, which I doubt he'll answer. But what is his definition of cyber stalking? Because and reading these lawsuits and what have you, and hearing his words talking about cyber stalking and whatever, and he would have to try to sue everybody, his own followers, even just the casual person like I was, right? The casual person like I was just looking for shit, to watch, and he would have to accuse everybody, even his own family members and friends of cyber stalking because according to his definitions, but by the videos that he posts plus these frivolous lawsuits that he's been putting in, pretty much everybody's a cyber stalker just by watching his videos for cyber stalker according to his definition from the videos that he's posted and whatever. And you just gotta look that shit up. You gotta look at different videos where he's talking about cyber stalking and whatever, and hopefully they haven't been edited because I've noticed that many times that when he puts his foot in his mouth, then he'll edit it so that way it doesn't, right. But the RICO civil suits and what again, frivolous. It's frivolous. That's just my opinion. I'm not involved. I'm not involved. I'm not one of the parties involved. I know some of the people involved. But I'm not involved. So, but for me, this is just frivolous bullshit. Okay. Then it says, in the case of our former partners, we negotiated with them in good faith for a year before we were forced to seek judicial intervention. We attempted to come to mutual resolutions in a private and ethical manner, and they responded with extortion threats, which they appear to have now carried out online. Right, so I'm not gonna read this whole damn thing, but you notice, and let me kind of go up so you can see it and see where my mouse is. Okay, right here where my mouse is. It says the details of what predicated this court intervention are laid out in our pleadings that you may access at Light Warrior Legal Fund. So not only did he make but he's trying to my channel. He's trying to steer people to Light Warrior Legal Fund, which again was started by Lori, who's the first person to talk out against him. Okay. Right. So, like I said, I'm not one of the people involved. I'm not, I'm not going to read the whole thing. But I'm not, no, I'm not involved with any of these lawsuits or what have you. Thank God, I don't have any money. I'm broke as fuck. You know, got enough shit to worry about. You know what I mean? But I will give you my opinion on. I just think, again, this is just a frivolous lawsuit. This is, wasting taxpayer dollars for some bullshit because just because now just because he had his feelings hurt. Again, this is just my opinion. Okay, this is my opinion. All this shit is happening because he had his feelings hurt. Whether his feelings were hurt because of what was said by CW, Stina Maria, or slash Stina Bobina, Cliff High, whatever. You know what I mean? Or the fact that he was called out on a lot of the things, okay, like with Ari Stone, calling him and David out. Pretty much that's all it is. People were calling him out. He got his feelings hurt. Again, this is my opinion. Where as an outsider looking in, all of this shit started because number people were calling him out on his stuff. His feelings were hurt. He couldn't have people from his following stepping away because whatever. Okay, I've made my opinions known. I've given my opinions many times on Corey Goode and his whole situation. I've given you my opinions on all of this many times. I'm not gonna go back on it. I'm not. I'll stand by my opinions. I stand firm on my opinions on the situation. Okay. Um, I doubt that Corey Goode will ever actually do a hardcore interview where he would allow people to ask the hard questions without any kind of prompting. Okay, I think that if he would ever try to do an interview, it's going to be a lot of prompting. It's going to be a lot of soft pedaling of the truth or what have you. I doubt he would allow anybody to really give him an interview and call him out on his shit. Somebody who's a neutral party, someone or something, or I doubt it. I don't think Corey Goode. This is my opinion. I don't think Corey Goode has the mental stability or mental fortitude. Again, this is just my opinion. Okay, and opinions can be wrong. Okay, opinions can be wrong, but I don't think he has the mental stability, the mental fortitude to actually go for a full on interview that is not partially scripted. You know, um, reminds me and as a practicing minister, it reminds me a lot of the Jehovah's Witnesses. Okay, the Jehovah's Witnesses. How many times during the summer has Jehovah's Witnesses come to my door and they're basically reading off of a script. They're reading off of a script. And when me as a minister, I ask them questions. I drill into them. See, this is why Jehovah's Witnesses don't come to my house anymore. Okay, this is why the Jehovah's Witnesses do not come to my house anymore because I will drill them. I will have the conversation. I will ask them the questions. I will call them out on their shit. They can't answer any of the fucking questions. They can't. They can't. They will try to stick with the script that they were given. Try to go back to that every time you ask a question that has nothing to do with that. Okay. It gets to the point, and it's really sad because they're sending many times, they send out these young kids to do this, not prepared for somebody like me. So then what do they do? Then they send an older person, someone who's been a Jehovah's Witness most of their lives, who should know these answers, But again, gets to the point where I'm asking these questions and calling them out on their shit. And it goes to the point where they get so frustrated because I'm not drinking their Kool-Aid. Okay? And I'm telling you, and I'm using this as a way to explain why I don't think, again, my opinion on why I don't think Corey Goode would ever do an actual hardcore interview that wasn't partially scripted. Because if you do go and ask him certain hardcore questions, I think it's going to go to the point where he's going to get very upset. He's going to get very upset. He's going to get pissed off, walk away. And if it's a Zoom interview, he's going to turn everything off. Again, this is just my opinion. It's my opinion. Could be wrong. Maybe he might do some. I don't fucking know. I don't. But I think personally, I think the fact that him going and doing these lawsuits and all that shit, it opened up a can of worms. Because again, it was one, it was one thing with CW, a dark journalist, and I think Paranormal Hood themselves, calling him out on his stuff. It was one thing when it was just them. If he would have just kept his mouth shut, you know what I mean? If he would have just kept his mouth shut, just kept on going as business as usual, I think none of this would have ever happened. But no, what he ended up doing was, whether it was on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, or whatever, he couldn't keep his mouth shut. Again, this is my opinion. Observing all of this as an outsider, watching all of this happen, he couldn't keep his mouth shut, and he had to, and he did what he did, and he's doing what he's doing. I think, if he would have just been like, you know what, let him talk, none of this would have ever happened. Again, this is just my opinion, but no, he escalated the situation even more. And then with the cease and desist letters, again, this is my opinion, with the cease and desist letters and the lawsuits and this, that, and the other, now he has all this other shit coming in, and it's not from the outside; it's from within within his encampment, within his group of people. How is he going to answer for that? General statement is not going to work. Now you're going to have a lot more people paying attention. Now you're going to have a lot more people asking even more questions on a lot of different things. Not only do you have this stuff coming in from the outside, that if he would have just kept his mouth shut, none of this stuff would have happened. Now you have all this shit from the inside of his, Now imagine if Corey Goode would have kept his mouth shut, wouldn't have sent the cease and desist letters, wouldn't, would have been nothing to be talking about. But then all of a sudden, having these, the stuff from the inside, his former coworkers or what have you, it was going to happen regardless. It was going to happen regardless. But in the beginning, right? If he'd have just kept his mouth shut, then okay. Only thing he would have to worry about now The only thing that he would have to worry about now is just what's happening from within. Now he has so much to worry about because instead of keeping his mouth shut and instead of what have you, he dug a hole for himself. Again, this is my opinion. This is just my opinion based on everything that I'm seeing unfold right in front of me as an outsider. Okay, this is the shit that's unfolding right in front of me as an outsider. This is how I see it because this is how it is unfolding. That's simple. All right, everybody. This is it for now. Thought it was very interesting that happened, and I wanted to briefly touch upon it. I'm gonna look into some other things, but until next time, just remember, I'm Sway. Love you all. Peace.
It's just my opinion.